Will my Mercedes come back to life? That's the unanswered question I've had in my mind for the past 3 months. One day drove, the next day I went to start it and it wouldn't start. I was quoted £15,000 for a brand new engine from Mercedes after one basic diagnostic. That was out of my budget, so I had to get creative. So I recovered the car back to my driveway where it's been sat for just over 90 days. And in that time, I've diagnosed it myself. I've learned mechanics and things I never would have thought I would have learned in my life regarding cars. I decided I will fix it myself. But the question is, did I do it right? And will it start again? What's happening? We are back with another video. And in this video, I'm going to hopefully get my Mercedes started again. All the parts have arrived now. Hopefully it doesn't rain. I can feel it dripping already, which is not good. But hopefully we can get the car started. Okay, so I am arranging all of the parts. Let me take this off. These are the old parts. As you can see, this is the thing that's taken the longest to come. I've got some aftermarket ones of these, so hopefully they'll be good, but they are crucial for oil pressure. Got my rocker cover under here with all of the bolts still in. These are for the front end, which we'll get to later. These are the actual new valves. I've got my timing chain tensioner cover. Got the rivet tool, that's crucial for the chain. Got some new seals. Mine were not too bad, but let's see. We've got the new chain and an extra rivet, which is good. We've got the tensioner guides, which I'm only going to change the top one here, so that's fine. And then we've got the tensioner bolt in here, ready to go. So first, let me take a look at the new camshaft adjuster valve bolts, because I haven't opened this yet. Okay, that's good. They're the same. Perfecto. It's now 5 to 10. Let's see how long this takes to fix. Time to take off the crescendo. So annoyingly, it is dripping with rain. It's not exactly chucking it down. And a friend of mine in the Caribbean always told me rain is good. So in my mind, even though I need to fix my engine, get the SLK started again, I'm like, rain is good, rain is good, rain is good. But right now, rain is not good when you're trying to work on an engine and you don't want to get water in it. So I'm going to sit and watch this tutorial to refresh my brain on the procedure that I need to do. And hopefully the rain's going to stop any minute now. So right now what I'm doing is just prepping the timing chain, because I need to first rivet out one of the rivets on the joining link so I can prep the new chain to be attached to it. You've got to make sure that you use the correct part, because with the timing chain kit that I got, there are 2 different attachments, and at first I used the bigger attachment because it's the first time using this and I got it wrong. But there is a thinner attachment which will fit perfectly inside of the rivet hole. So just make sure that you check the tool that you are using before you start applying pressure with the ratchet. That was a mistake that I made, but as soon as I figured that out, I switched over, which you'll see in the next clip. So this size is the actual size for the chain link. So I'm just removing this one because, as you can see, it's a little thicker. So I've kind of damaged mine slightly, but that chain's coming off anyway. But you want to use the right size. I'm gonna screw this in, and this should fit. So now that I've separated the chain, you can see that was held on by that link. What I'm going to do now is connect the new chain, and then I'm going to feed it through so I can replace the old chain. So I have to connect the new chain to this, feed it through, know where I've marked it, and then take off the old chain with the same rivet process. So it's a little technical, just take your time with it. Thankfully for me, I have some experience in jewelry, as that's my background, and working with metals like this, it's very finicky. So just take your time with it and make sure nothing drops inside of here. But you gotta make sure that it's lined up. Right now what I'm doing is prepping the new timing chain and lubricating it with some engine oil, because you don't want the chain to go in dry before it even starts. You want it to be lubricated, so when it starts to go around the camshaft adjusters, that it's going to go around smoothly. And also when you're fixing the chain onto the camshaft adjusters, you want it to fit onto the sprockets and the teeth smooth. Now this was probably one of the most daunting parts of the whole build, because the chain is so slippy, and once you've oiled it, it can easily slip out your fingers and slip back into the engine, which is a nightmare to get out because your hand cannot fit in there because it's too narrow, and there are parts inside of it. There's the tension guides. So this happened to me at least 3 times. I'd attached, and when I was ready to actually work on it, it slipped out of my hands, you know, just slipped out pretty much, and I had to adapt a hanger to actually get the timing chain back out of the engine. And at this point, I'll be honest with you guys, I thought it's over. So this part is probably the most intense of the build. So from videos that I've watched, people use a temporary rivet link and connect the new and the old chain. But the issue I've found is that the old chain doesn't, or the old rivet should I say, which are these, once they've been pushed out, they have like a rough edge, and then you can't actually get them back through the hole, which is really annoying. And I've tried and tried and I can't do it. So now I'm going to attempt to use these really thin cable ties to temporarily secure the links and then feed the chain through. Hopefully, I'm praying that this works. So I'm literally just playing it over in my head a few times, checking the clearance to see if the little locking mechanism on the cable tie has enough space to go through the sprockets underneath, because I need it to go through so I can pull the chain out on the other end. It's only to hold the links together. This is so intense, man. It needs to work. So this is the part where I'm doing the new rivet on the new timing chain, and I'll be honest with you guys, this was probably the most stressful and challenging part of the entire rebuild, because it's very finicky. A rivet could just drop anywhere, you could lose the chain. There's so many things that can go wrong that just set you back another 45 minutes to an hour, you know, having to fetch out the chain from inside of the engine, adapting a coat hanger because it's the only thing useful enough to get it out. It was just super stressful and very, very challenging, and I ended up getting an extra pair of hands because I physically just couldn't do it. I was running out of tie wraps at this point because I'm attaching chains to whatever I could to keep it in place, and at this point I'm actually trying to connect the old chain to the new chain so I can just feed them both through from the bottom of the engine. So it was just super stressful. Like I said, just take your time with it. If you can get some help, 98% of this job I had, this specific part I had no help, but you need help. Alright, so quick update. The new chain is now fed through, and thankfully my little cable tie method held out. So now the next thing is the gears and the valves, because I need to make sure that the chain can go around. Yeah, that was a very, very stressful moment, and I needed help, so I couldn't film at the same time. And just like we did with the timing chain, we need to lubricate the camshaft adjuster valves, because again, this is another area in the engine, in the timing chain area, that has a lot of oil going through it. So you don't want those to be in dry because they also connect to the camshaft as well. And you just want fresh engine oil. Do not use old oil, use fresh engine oil, just a little bit, so they are lubricated with the correct lubricant. So now that I have lubricated the camshaft adjuster valve bolts, they're ready to go through the camshaft adjuster gears into the camshaft themselves. And I would say, looking back at this point, it would have made sense to connect the new chain, because trying to do that on top of the camshaft adjusters is a little tricky. And again, you're working in a space that anything could happen, anything can drop inside of the engine. So I definitely would have done that differently next time. The other thing to keep in mind is the adjustment for the chain. It's hard to really know how it's going to fit until you've kind of like pre-tested it or pre-set it onto the gears. So that's the reason why I was doing it this way. But all in all, the new chain is in. I'm just prepping the adjusters and the bolt. I've got the timing kit still on the camshaft to make sure it's top dead center at all times. And yeah, I'm just making sure that this is correct. Okay, so some updates. I've managed to get the new chain on. This was the join link. You can see where I've marked it here. Camshafts is still in time. However, I do need to make sure that this is top dead center, which it is right there. So the camshafts, let's move this back. Camshafts is still in time, top dead center. I just have to make sure the actual cams are on top dead center as well. So quick review here. Apologies for the background noise. Some new noisy neighbors. So the camshaft gears are now on. This is now obviously not going to turn because we've got the chain on and we've still got this piece on. So everything seems to be good on the tension guides. Everything seems to be good there. Just triple checking. We're at top dead center, and top dead center here and here. So that's looking good. So here's one annoying mistake. Don't put the tensioner cap on until you are 5,000% sure that the timing is done, everything's good, which I had done before. But because I didn't put this onto the camshafts, it was pulling up one of the actual camshafts, and AI gave me a different response, which I should have just listened to my gut. Didn't put this on. Now that's just cost me a few days, so I'll probably cut back once I've got the new one, unless I could pick one up tomorrow. So long and hard to get out. £7 wasted. So quick update, this is a really pivotal moment because the engine is now back in time, new gears, new chain, and the cam cover, or the gear cover, is what the AI said, is on. And as you can see, the arrows, all in time, all in time. Now, the thing is, I've got to torque this down before I can actually torque these down, the gears, because this needs to be secure so the cams don't move, and then I can actually torque these down, and then this is good. Then I can put the tensioner back in to make sure that the chain is super tight, and then we're good to go. I obviously broke that piece, the tensioner cap. I'm gonna try get another one tomorrow. Hopefully, I ordered one, but if I can get one tomorrow, I will buy it tomorrow because I want to hear how this baby's gonna sound. So recap, I've got to tighten these down, then I've got to put the tensioner back in, tighten that up, then torque these valves down. All right, it's the next day. I've got a few things to tell you. First thing, Mercedes actually do sell the tensioner cap, OEM, separate. And the guy who told me on the phone was wrong. Because when I went in there today to go pick up this sensor on some tubing that the diagnostic guy actually chopped. The chief mechanic, they told me that they've replaced it, which I'll put up it on screen, changing out old parts, whatever. So I bought it. I'm just gonna change that out and change the tubing, hopefully. So I've got a meter of tubing. Hopefully that's long enough. It's not a crazy length that it's um the distance. So hopefully it works. Next, I need to make sure that I have torqued the valve bolts to spec. So I took the Libby, as you saw in the intro, of speaking to Mercedes Benz Stuttgart. So I just went to the source because I don't have time for this nonsense. And they was very, very helpful. So shout out to Mercedes Benz dealership in Stuttgart. And they actually gave me a printout, which I'll pop on screen here, of the actual torque spec from the Wiz system, okay, the Mercedes system for workshop and repairs and all that good stuff. So I've got the spec. It's 90 newton meters, which the AI was telling me that, but with this thing, and obviously having snapped them in previous videos, I'm buying 2 new ones, which I had to wait for. I did not want to make that mistake. So now I've got the exact newton meter torque spec. I'm going to do that. Then I think we have everything to put everything back on the car. Most of it is on. It just needs talking to spec. I'm going to do the tensioner cap first. I've got a spare one coming tomorrow or the next day. But now I've got the Mercedes one today. I can pop that in now. Because when I pop that in now, I can then put the alternator back on and then the steering pump. And that is the game plan. To put everything back together, change the tubing. I've got new spark plugs as well. And I'll probably cut this, but I bought new spark plugs. Might as well change them whilst I'm in there, while you're in there. And yeah, hopefully she's going to run. So I'm going to cut to some working parts here. And we've got some sharp upgrades. So I bought a mechanic chair and I've also bought some ramps, which are in here. So let's open these up. Here's my OEM tensioner cap. Here's my new NGK spark plugs, which I'm probably going to put in first. Here is the tubing and sensor that I bought. Hopefully I have enough tubing. I've got my oil filter ready to go in. I've got the new air duct hosing. That's the old busted one. And I've got my V-belt, serpentine belt, ready to go on all the pulleys. So I think first things first, because I've done a lot of walking and stretching, I'm gonna crack open this chair. I don't need the ramps right now, but I need the chair. And then we're gonna put the timing tensioner. We're gonna put the timing tool on so that I can torque the camshaft adjuster valve to spec. Alright, I've got my surgery table prepared. New parts, old parts, pulley bolts and clips. These are for the top of the engine, coolant, alternator, steering pump, and this is around the adjuster camshaft area. Need to find those, remember where they go, and that's it. That's the only bolts we've got left. Now I'm just positioning the alternator. It's a lot easier to get this in without the steering pump in the way. It takes 4 bolts. I think last time it was easier for me to get the bottom bolts in from underneath the car. So I'm gonna do it exactly how I did it before. Get it secure first, then I'm gonna clip this in, because this is a hard thing to get to and I don't want to get it out again. Make sure you put the bolts in dry, don't put copper thread on them. As they came out, put them back in. So I'm essentially just doing it the reverse of what I took out. The last things will be all the piping work here. Oh, don't move that, that's holding the steering pump up. You see, once I've got the alternator in here, I can position the steering pump in as well, so I can run the engine harness cable in position and clip it onto the steering pump in the back. So I'm running out of light, but we have a new addition to the workshop. I can put the remaining 2 bolts in the alternator, then I can put on the steering pump, which is hanging out right there. Let's go. I'm so grateful for what the Lord has done in my life, man. Real talk. So because the steering pump and the alternator are very tricky to get to, and you have to take off other things in the engine before you work on it, it's best to quadruple check that those 2 are done correctly, because the engine harness cable connects to the back of the alternator, and you don't want to have to be messing around with that clip, because if it's old, it's going to be a bit tricky to come in and out, and the steering pump bolts are hard to get to. So just make sure you double check and triple check your work. All right, so I think this is day 3 of the rebuild process of this last session. So as you can see here, I'm going to show you the engine bay, tell you what I've been up to. So yesterday was quite an active day. I managed to put everything back on the top of the engine, new spark plugs, coil overs are back in, everything is buttoned down, all the screws are in, so we're looking good. I've just got this tubing to do for this sensor, so I need to get that off, but apart from that, these 2 pieces of tube should be good to go. I have put back on the pulleys, so all the pulleys are on, steering pump on, alternator is on, clipped in. I've just literally got the coolant pipes here, 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 and here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I can fill up the coolant. Then I can put on a new oil filter, which I'll probably do next. Fill it up with oil in here, and then charge the battery, and then we should be able to crank it, see if she runs. Grateful for positions that he put me in. Saved by his grace, it was a new beginning. Crashing out, I was acting like a hooligan. I wasn't sure if I could even speak the truth again. I made it here, but saw my homies then. It breaks my heart, I can't describe all the pain I feel. At this point in life, I don't care about no deal. No charts, no record sales, it must have lost all its appeal. Thankful for the wisdom, invited to the... Okay guys, so when it comes to putting on the V-belt, you want to make sure that you have the correct amount of tension applied to the tension pulley, because if you don't, this belt will not go on. Let me just tell you that again, it will not go on. So I found having my breaker bar and Torx bit all the way to, let's say, 7 p.m. on a clock, that kind of angle, because once I had the breaker bar all the way down to the bottom of the engine pretty much, hence why you need to take the under trays off and keep them off until you've absolutely finished, because you need this space to get the tensioner as low as possible so you can get the belt on. Because I was stumbling in the beginning because I just didn't have enough tension on the actual pulley, so I just couldn't get the belt on. It wouldn't go over all of the pulleys, but as soon as I did that, I fixed the problem. I'm just gonna tell you something. If you're looking to do car YouTube and you're saying, yeah, I'm gonna do all of this good stuff on my driveway, listen, If you need to get underneath the car, it is a nightmare. I've got the jack fully cranked. It's probably been damaging the under tray for quite some time now. Not much I can do about that. I've got this, but the wheels are already a few inches, so that reduces the size or the distance, and I just don't have much clearance. So the ramps that I've got, hopefully that's gonna make life a lot easier. We'll see, but this is just not ideal, man. And I just want to tell you straight, I don't want to like get your hopes up and think, yeah, you can do everything. Look, it's difficult. It's very difficult. All right, morning. So it's the next day. It's 8:05, as you can see on the crescendo, and I need to go and pick up my new battery because I want to eliminate any potential battery draining issues. I've had some electrical gremlins. So the last battery in the car before I bought it was 2024 October, and that only has a 3-year warranty on that cheap battery. So I'm gonna put an OEM battery into the car with a 5-year warranty, 22% extra crank reliability. So let's go pick that up from Euro Car Parts right now. And there she is, brand new battery. So let's get her installed now. I wanted to show you how stupid some people can be. Like, how am I supposed to get, let me get it in focus, this. How am I supposed to get that off? What kind of design is that? It's like there's a nut that's just spinning around and I can't get it off. This is to change the battery. I put my art on the poster, mic in the holster. I'll seat jet into the island in October. Handling my business like a grown-up. Downtime, jet skis, see me doing donuts. Family on vacay, carrot no coronas. Everyone eating mangoes, just as good as gold dust. This my culture, this come from pure focus. First generation mogul, I make sure I broke road. Alright, so new battery is in. I had to improvise slightly, because that is a crazy design, but new OEM battery in. All right, it is the moment of truth. First thing I'm gonna do is connect the, oh man, I'm so nervous. I can see the dashboard is on, chat. Come on, guys, come on. All right, first thing I'm gonna do is check the iCar soft. Let's see, will it switch on in position 1, position 2. All right, here goes, man, here goes. Come on, man, come on. Let's go, man. The new battery is holding. The new battery is holding. Still got the engine light. Let this idle for a bit. Yes, man. Woo! Yes, man. Yes. Yes, man. Let's go. Okay, so we got 3 codes. Let's read the codes. Store the camshaft position actuator control circuit open. That is expected because of that part that's not done. Camshaft position actuator control circuit open. Barometric pressure sensor a circuit, that's as expected. So let's erase codes. Related. Oh my word, you don't understand, man, you don't understand. That is like months of work, pain, sweat, tears, money, all to get to this point where it actually starts. I've just got one more thing to fix, he says, for now, which I knew of, is that sensor. I need to change the tubing because it's an open loop, so it's gonna, you know, trigger off faults. But My OBD reader is scanning at the moment. I'm gonna see what's going on. You can literally do anything when you put your mind to it. You just have to lock in, you have to stay focused, and you just gotta make it happen, man. You just gotta make it happen. Okay, so this is finished. So what was happening, this is sending like air. So there's air coming from here, and it does something in the engine where it's reading like the airflow and the something to do with air, basically. So I've closed that loop. This is where they cut it off before, and how I knew which one went where is I'd lined up the old tubing. So there's a joint here, that's where the nipple is, just over there. So I just cut that to size, popped that. Well, I didn't even cut that, that was the same one. I just trimmed it down and plugged it back in. And then yeah, I've attached this one, gone underneath the harness like that, and that's on. I might see if I can push that in a little bit more, but it should be good. It is running. I need to top it with some oil because the tensioner, the filter sucked up a lot of oil. This is the new timing chain, but a bit more oil, probably about 500 to 750 mil, and it should be running sweet. I've got one fault code, something to do with a key battery possibly, which I did see before and could be an electrical gremlin, but I'm gonna come back to that. Next thing, get the oil, put the front end on, because we are mechanically sound. Let's go.
Blocks life sometimes get the best of me. The chef's recipe, the best dish, and God just keeps blessing me. Dead presidents in the times I need it. Stay believing every day, prayers up, it's no secret. What's the reason? Well, you asking the wrong person when you need to ask Jesus. I don't judge no one for backsliding. I've been on the slide a few times, my pride took a hiding, that's a fact. Driving through Paris to some slaps. Spin around, see a baddie and I'm gas, even though I know she probably won't be wifey. Bonjour, pon cafe, sit to play. Why? Because my friend showed me pictures of his kids, and all I could show was videos of my whip on YouTube. Because
alright, final task of the day. Car is now on ramp. First time doing this. Could have gone a little bit further, but I didn't. But yeah, I got these off of eBay, give me a bit more height. Here is the repair job on the bumper, or modification, so that's gonna dry overnight. Tiger seal, but the brackets that I tried just didn't work because this is damaged and underneath is damaged or old, so the bracket's just not gonna work. And it's a lot better job than I did the first time, well, last year when this happened. The bumper completely ripped off and I had to tiger seal it back because I couldn't attach it otherwise. So that's gonna dry overnight, should be good. It's hot, so it's gonna really get adhesive. But yeah, take off the tape, and then we are nearly there for MOT. So as I'm waiting for the car to cool down, I've got to attach these brackets. So I got these from Amazon. They're just exhaust clamps, as you can see, and they should wrap around the exhaust. This can go into the exhaust mount, and that will make it safe. So that's one exhaust clamp fitted. It's not OEM, but it is additional safety, and it should help me pass MOT. Man, what a journey. So I've just fitted this, let me show you. Now it's not OEM. I'm hoping that there is enough clearance because those bolts sticking out are quite long. There's one cable down here that I'm not sure what that is, but I don't like that hanging down, so I'm gonna have to look at that and tuck that in. But apart from that, that is the last job. These were the old rusted hangers that come off the exhaust. They've been beaten, but they come on the exhaust. So yeah. All right, it's the next morning. I've just adjusted the exhaust clamps, getting it ready for MOT. So let's check the clearance. I big brained the clamps, adjusted them, moved them at a different angle, and I think we should be ground clear now. It's not ideal, but this should work. I'm going to take it off the ramps now, and let's see how it looks. Taking a look at the clearance now. This is what we're looking at. It's pretty tight, not gonna lie. A speed bump could hit that. All I need is an angle grinder to cut that down. I mean, get it off this drive, we'll see, but it's tight. I don't like it. I really don't like it, but it should be enough clearance. Just come back from the MOT test center. What I have in my hand here is the results. Now, just for clarity, she drives great. Few little niggles. I think there is, I need to check the exhaust clamps because I'm hearing a rattle. I don't know if it's that or a wheel arch lining or under tray is fully not clipped in, but something's flapping. I've heard that sound before. I think it is the under tray potentially, so I need to check that. But let's go through this. Did it pass? Did it fail? But before we find out, let's break down the costs. Okay, this is the point where I'm going to break down all the costs, because I'm probably sure that you're wondering, how much did all of this repair cost me? So I'm using my driving foreign software, which without this, I definitely would not have been able to do this job, because all the planning, all the preparation, note taking, storage of parts, bolts, like you name it, I built it into the driving foreigns, and I'll leave a link in the description. You can get it now. It is now available for all car enthusiasts, and it will help you on your build. So let's get straight to it. And in the repairs tab, you'll see I've got some other repairs pending. But the one we want to look at is the timing chain. Okay, so as you can see at the top here, let me just move my video out of the way. You can see here it's completed, okay, and it was urgent, and the total tab at the moment is around £1,524. So I'll put the US dollar equivalent for my American brethren on the screen. But that's how much I've spent on parts. This is not including labor, which I'll get to in a second. So let's go through what I actually bought. So camshaft timing kit holder, needed that. That's to keep the timing chain top dead center, the adjusters in top dead center, because without that, the engine won't run, which is what happened to mine originally. I had to buy an intake air duct hose pipe. That was from Mercedes OEM. I had to buy a timing chain rivet kit tool. That was needed to actually rivet the new chain, which was a very, very difficult task, I must say. I had to buy a new Mercedes oil filter, a timing chain tensioner cap. I ended up buying 3, used one, bought one from Mercedes, and still didn't receive the third one, so I'm gonna have to request a refund. Cam adjuster chains tensioner kit. So I actually bought a aftermarket kit because I wasn't sure the status of the engine, so I didn't want to spend money on OEM parts, which were quite expensive. I think just for the gears, the camshaft adjusters alone were around £1,500, so it can get to quite a pricey repair. So I bought an aftermarket kit, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it's going to stick around for a little bit. I had to buy 5 liters of oil, ended up buying 6, because after you've taken all the parts out, once you start it up again, the engine is very, very oil deprived. So it goes into all of the arteries of the engine and the oil filter and the tensioners. So a lot of oil gets sucked up. So I had to top it up. Okay, I had to buy the camshaft adjuster valves, 2 of those from Lithuania. They were aftermarket. And as you saw in the previous video, I had snapped them because I didn't use the correct attachment for my tool. So I bought a 27mm advanced one. I bought 2 actually, just to make sure I didn't do that again. Mine were old, so you know they were on there from the beginning of time, so they had a long run. So I bought 2 new ones of those. I had a Mercedes diagnostic, which now that I've got my OBD iCarsoft reader, I'll never have to pay for a diagnostic again, which is perfect. That was £213. Minimal information, by the way. Recovery cost to get it from Mercedes to my house, £80. So as you can see, around £300 almost, just in a diagnostic that gave minimal information and a recovery truck. So nothing there. Wolf box jumper kit plus air pump kit. So this is a cool tool. I need to like test it a bit more. But yeah, I did use it in the jump start originally before I changed the battery. And I saw there was life on the dashboard, but I need to play with it some more. But it's a good tool, especially for pumping up your tires and charging items. And it's got a torch on as well. I bought a multimeter because I wanted to check my old battery. Didn't end up using that, funny enough, but I have that for other jobs. Boroscope. This was very, very crucial because without this, I wasn't able to actually see inside of the cylinder to make an assessment of how damaged, if they were damaged, on the actual valves inside of the engine. So that was a really, really good tool. £20, 39 from Amazon, bargain. I had to buy a Torx bit set because I didn't have one, because Mercedes use a lot of Torx bits. So I've got them now, which is an investment. As I said, I got my iCarsoft OBD reader, down from £200 actually, and I found it on eBay. I had to buy a Mercedes V-belt, serpentine belt, OEM. I bought Phoebe Philstein coolant antifreeze, and I bought it on eBay, found a good deal, 10 liters, £45. Mercedes actually ran out because they switched over from the blue coolant to the pink one, and they didn't even have any. So fortunately I found a guy on eBay, which again would have delayed the build for another week and a half to 2 weeks. Had to buy a oil sump plug and washer. I had to buy a timing chain tensioner cap. As I said, I bought 3, received 2, still need to get a refund on 1. I had to buy 1 meter of hose tubing. That was for the sensor on top of the engine harness, which Mercedes had cut when I did a diagnostic. And I did find out if they would have taken off the alternator and the steering pump, they wouldn't have need to cut the tubing. It's cheap, but the point is, if they would have done that instead of just cutting corners, basically, I wouldn't have had to replace that. But it wasn't a big job. I bought NGK spark plugs. Whilst I was in there, I figured that I don't know when the last spark plugs were changed on this car before I bought it. So I decided to change them, got some fresh NGK ones. As I said, I bought the 2 27mm half-inch advanced sockets from Halfords. That was so I had more clearance on the camshaft adjuster valves. I bought a brand new battery, 5-year warranty, 22% extra crank power by Varta, which are OEM supplier for Mercedes, I'm told. So I've learned that was £150. And again, the battery that I had was sat there for a while. It was a cheap brand, and somebody who bought that, who had the car before me, had put that in 2024, which I saw from my records. So it had a 3-year warranty and it was due for a change. So that was fully dead. So I figured just get a new battery, start clean, and give it the best possible chance. And as I said, I had to buy an extra bit of oil for $16.99. So all in all, 25 parts, £1,524 and 84 pence. Now labor, let's talk about that. So if we went by Mercedes pricing, yeah, that's £180 an hour. I probably spent on this job easily between 80 and 90 hours. Like easily 8 or 9 days, 10-hour days, like easy. So if we just go by the lowest number, which is 80, that was 14,400 pounds of labor saved. Now, if you recall in earlier videos, if you watch this series, Mercedes quoted me 15,000 pounds plus some change for a new engine, like brand new from the factory, which I still would like to do in the future. I think that would be cool. 0 miles, brand new everything. That would be cool, because I would extend my car for another 20, 30, 40 years. So that's probably the reason why they just say, look, we'll just give you a new engine, because all the hours that we're going to quote, and even in the initial quotes, they was talking 30, 40 hours. So it would easily get to 80 or 90 hours once they take all the stuff that I actually took off the car. So I understand why they quote for a brand new engine, but obviously I didn't have the funds to do that, and that was way out of my jurisdiction. So I saved myself 14,000 pounds. So that's how much the timing chain repair costs. Of course, there's going to be some more other costs, but that is specific to the timing chain repair. And again, that could have been double the price if I would have got every single item OEM. Easily double, 3,500 to 4,000 pounds. Well, it failed, guys. Let me show you. So it's not the end of the world. There was a few things which was kind of a long shot, to be honest. Obviously, you've seen how I've done the headlamps. That was a quick fix and didn't work. And the brake pads and brake discs, I already knew about because they were like that from the last time I drove it. I went to Mercedes last and I asked to change the brakes. They only changed the pads and not the discs. So they ended up warping and ended up wasting my money on the pads. So I learned, always do pads and discs at the same time. So these are a few small minor things to change. Now I obviously need to get more parts. But I think considering that this is the first mechanical attempt that I've ever done in life, and the fact that I did probably one of the hardest jobs on this model, which is a timing chain repair. I changed spark plugs, I changed the timing chain, I changed the camshaft adjusters. I basically took half of the engine apart and put it back together. And to only have brake pads and the headlamps, which were broken anyway, as the failure points, I think that's a W. So I'm going to take that. She drives great. I think I need to do some tweaks, as I said. But I appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned, because in the next video, more than likely, we're going to be going somewhere special once she's passed and fully road legal. So thanks for the support. If you got any questions, any feedback, leave a comment below, and I'll see you on the next one. Appreciate it.